I practiced this yesterday, so I should be able to do this. Got my little spinning wheel. Come on, come on. There we go. All right, now I'm going to hit play.
After you have been planning and assessing your daily plans and using your habit tracker, you will have the opportunity to learn so much from your worksheets. When you plan daily, you give yourself the opportunity to learn how to trust that you are a person who does what they say they will. When you assess each of those daily plans and fill out your habit tracker, you find what areas you have created wins with and what areas you might choose next to focus some extra attention to. Now I want to introduce the weekly assessment and planner worksheet. You will use this to formulate everything you have learned from your daily worksheet and then set your focus for next week. This is such a great tool. When you set goals, you are setting your course. On the days you feel like it is all too much or that it is taking too long, the weekly assessment and planner will keep you moving. When you look at the entire goal, it looks like too much for right now. However, when you look at a week at a time, you find all the wins, the habits you are creating and wanting to create. You start gaining confidence in what you have done and in what you are curiously ready to try next. You are so capable of figuring out your weight loss, and I am very excited to help you with some tools to make it so much easier. When you think about assessing, the first thing everyone wants is to see the scale move. The scale is only one piece of data, and as you continue this journey, it will become one of the more insignificant pieces. Yes, you will be excited when the scale is moving in the direction of your goal. I want you to be equally excited when you see all the other non-scale victories, habits you are creating, and thoughts you are thinking. So the worksheet is intentionally set up to assess your week before you weigh yourself. To start, look over your week of daily plans, assessments, and the habit tracker. You will want these available for you when you fill in the weekly assessment and planner worksheet. You determine when your week begins. How you decide is up to you. Everyone has a day that works best for their routine of weighing, planning, and assessing. Be as routine with this as possible. Ideally, you would do it on the same day every week. You will look first at your habit tracker. If you want to mark how many days out of 7 you did each habit, then do that and put it on the worksheet. I personally like to see percentages each week. Take the number of days you did the habit and divide it by 7. This gives you the percentage of days you did that habit this week. When you look at the numbers, take the emotion out of it. This is simply your opportunity to be the scientist and figure out the data. You might want to circle a habit or two that you want to try to improve for next week. Or you might want to stay focused on one single habit until you have it so routine that it's like clockwork. There is no wrong choice. You get to decide how you want to do it. You have already decided that this is important. You are not quitting. This is just how you do things from now on. So there is no wrong answer and no allotted time to figure this out in. You get to try a habit and then try again, or switch to another and come back later. No wrong choices and no time's up. Next, you will look at your non-scale data. Think about your wins and work-ons. Consider many different areas: your body, skin, muscles, the size and shape of your body, changes in your joint or muscle pain, your energy level, your digestion. That could be changes in gas, bowels, upset stomach, or heartburn, your quality and length of sleep, and how your clothes fit. Maybe you see changes in your relationships. Definitely watch for changes in your thoughts, feelings, and urges. You might notice that they come up less frequently or with less urgency. Your journey is going to have so many more non-scale and habit wins than losses on the scale. All of these areas lead you to the next victory on the journey. As you collect all of these, you gain momentum and then the motivation to keep trying to see what the next thing is that might help. Sometimes you will notice that one of these areas isn't where you want it, and maybe you circle that category to remember to focus on that area in the next week's planning. How do you think and feel about how your week went? This can be anything and is a place to be real with yourself. You may think that you really tried your best. Maybe you were distracted with family or work obligations, putting your weight loss after everything else. Maybe you were sick, or maybe you were on your menstrual cycle. Just write whatever you think. It's your subjective overview. Next is the best. Celebrate and write your wins and helpful thoughts onto your wins journal worksheet. That will be where you look from time to time when you need a reminder of all the places you have been and what you have overcame. Okay, now that you have assessed your week, please weigh yourself. This is intentionally not the first part of the assessment. I want you to learn to find all the areas of data. It is so easy to jump on a scale and let whatever number it spits out at you determine your worth. Determine the grade you get for the entire week of efforts. The scale is only a momentary measurement of gravity. There are so many things that can make this number change. If you are retaining water, maybe you've traveled, or you've had sodium from what you've eaten, or what you have exercised and your muscles are inflamed. The scale can be different if you are dehydrated, or if you've had very much caffeine, or depending on hormones and menstrual cycles. Some people retain water weight after having foods like sugar, processed foods, including meat, fast food, canned soups, dairy, greasy foods. The scale differs throughout the day and depending on if you've used the bathroom. Some people choose to weigh every day and then take the average of the daily weights for their weekly weigh-in number. See why the scale is not the best, nor even at the top of the most important data that we monitor? When you pin your results only on the number the scale gives you, you are giving all of your power away. You are diminishing and dismissing all of your efforts. No wonder why you have stopped diets before. Next, plan for the week. Is there anything you are wanting to focus on, reduce, or eliminate? Remember, you may have circled some habits or non-scale data during your assessment that you want to consider. Choose a goal for the next week, a non-scale goal and a scale goal. It is realistic to lose a half a pound to 2 pounds per week. If you are setting your goal for more than that, then you are setting yourself up for unrealistic expectations. Think about what you will need to overcome to achieve this goal. What obstacles or thoughts do you see? What strategies can help you overcome these? What are you willing to try to get you to these goals? Now, what can you think or do to make it all easier? When you have already decided that you have chosen the easiest route, you will find you actually want to try what you have chose. When we have lofty goals or have a huge list of things that we have to do, or when we think it is hard, well, we usually are not too excited to try something. Our brain has already determined we probably won't be able to do it or won't want to do it for very long. We will avoid or simply not do it to find relief from the thoughts of how hard or how much pressure we are feeling from it. Why is this goal you chose important to you? Decide how you will know if you hit your goal. A good goal will be, it will have a definitive way of knowing if you hit it. It will be measurable. Decide how you will know if you hit your goal. Now, think about how you will feel when you achieve it. This moment of imagining how you will feel will drive you to want to create the feeling again. When you know why you want something and know how you will feel when you achieve it, when you see all the wins and obstacles you have overcome, when you see all the areas your life, not just the scale have changed, then you will find momentum that leads you to the motivation to do whatever is needed to get you to the next goal and not give up, not ever give up.
All righty. Did you download the worksheet that went with that video yet?
No.
No. So
No.
that was in yesterday, the email that went out that gave the specific link for today's video. And so that worksheet is attached to that. And then I'll attach it again with the replay that I send out. Do you want to fill one out together?
We can.
Okay. So I'll fill it out on my paper since you haven't printed it yet. And then I'll send you the link. Okay. Do you have your habit tracker there with you?
No, but I can grab it.
Okay.
Now I know I printed that somewhere.
Have you been using it?
Probably not. I'm sure I printed it.
It's the one with all the circles.
Mhm. I remember all the circles.
Okay. So each day, have you been putting like whether you did those habits or not?
I have not.
Okay. You don't need to search for it then. So each day when you make your daily plan, or when you assess, you can pick one or the other, whichever you want. And then you'll fill in the little dot, you'll give yourself a check mark or an X or whatever you want to do with that. But keeping track of that will help you know what areas you're really getting like clockwork with and which areas are places you're going to want to focus on next. So before you go to bed tonight or whatever time, are you doing the assessments? Like, are you filling in like what you actually ate and whether you were hungry or not, that kind of thing?
Just on my daily plan.
Yes. Okay.
In those
So,
boxes.
yep. So you'll take your daily plan and how you've assessed it. And then you'll take that habit tracker and just, I ate what I planned. I made a plan, all the different boxes for the habit tracker, like are on the planner, that daily plan. It's just when you put it on the one worksheet, it tells you black and white. I did it. I didn't do it, And so when you're just seeing those numbers, when you take the emotion out of the numbers, you're just seeing a number. It just shows you what the next thing to try is. So each week when I say, what do you want to work on next week? That would show you like, you know what? I am not getting any extra numbers of habits on these days. So like maybe this is the habit I'm going to focus on trying for next week. Or when you look at your habit tracker, sometimes you'll notice like a pretty common one is like weekends. People will say Monday through Thursday, I do everything. I get all the dots. And then on the weekends, I don't get any. And so like, well, why are you not doing it on the weekend? So it just gives you so much information to figure out what the next thing to try is. So like right now with, starting out, pretty much everybody's consistently losing weight. You're starting any new efforts. And so they're going to have some rewards in those, but at some point that's going to kind of level out. So to be able to know what the next thing to try is this information here. So start this week, start today, and you'll just kind of give yourself the fill in the circle or give yourself a little X for the nod or however you want to do it, but start keeping track of that habit tracker today. So it's not a hard thing, just keep it with your daily plan. So your non-scale data, this is going to be your wins and the things that you notice that like aren't so great that you would want to work on. Okay. So I'll say category names and you tell me if there's anything that you've noticed that there's a win or something you want to work on in each category. Okay.
All right.
So with your body, it could be the shape, the size, it could be your skin, anything like that. Is there anything that you would count as a win?
I have noticed clothes are a little looser, especially.
Great. And then anything with any other part of your body or anything you want to work on with your body?
I need to work toning it up.
Okay.
Because my lower half isn't as flabby as my arms and upper half.
Okay. So you want to do some toning, and you had talked about your movement during coaching. What about
Mhm.
pain? Do you notice any wins in your pain?
I Yeah, I feel like my knee joints are well, let me put it this way, they were better. Saturday,
All that
they were
walking.
well, I also think I twisted my foot or
Oh, okay.
something, but I did feel like my joints were getting a little better, which is probably why I was getting at least half as much more water. You
Okay.
really pounded the water last time.
Is there anything about the pain that you can think of like, oh, I would like to try and see if this makes any kind of a difference?
Yeah, I would like to try and do some leg exercises.
Okay. So you're going to try to do some leg exercises, which kind of goes along with that toning that you said.
Mhm.
And then what about your digestion? Is there anything that's improved with your digestion?
You know what? I hadn't really thought about it, but I was starting to have heartburn again.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot, but occasionally. And I haven't noticed any.
Okay. So no heartburn. Okay. What about your sleep? Anything you're noticing with your sleep?
I'm probably getting more sleep because it seems like I can't stay awake past 8 o'clock.
So it would be
Problem
interesting.
is, I wake up the next morning fully dressed, sitting in a chair.
Yeah. And like with how many days you have pain or how many days you have, 7 hours or more of sleep, those are things that you can track so that you can actually say, like, oh, I only had knee pain 1 day this week, or I got my sleep 4 out of 7 days this week. So when you track those kind of things, so on that habit tracker, there's a couple extra lines. So if that's something that's interesting to you, like I know we have one lady that's in the group who's paying attention to bowel movements. And so I won't say which one of y'all it is, but that would be something that you could track on that habit tracker line. You said your clothes are looser. And then relationships, any difference in relationships?
I don't think so. I haven't noticed any relationships
Okay.
differences.
Any thoughts that you're having that maybe are kind of like, oh, I'm noticing I think this, or oh, like that's a thought that I've either worked on or now I'm thinking this instead.
No, not really.
Okay. And feelings. Have you noticed any changes in your feelings?
Just today when I wanted them to have those cravings.
So the next question is urges. And so,
Oh, urges. Okay, I had
yes.
urges.
So I would say that like having some awareness that you are having an urge and that feels different from physical hunger, that would be a win. Maybe next time, the win would be that you didn't eat with the urge, but for right now, noticing that it was an urge and not necessarily physical hunger is huge. So um so I'm just going to write awareness of the urge. Okay. And
Mhm.
then I didn't ask you on each one, are there any of these categories that I didn't mention that you see something that you're like, oh, there's something there I'd like to try to work on for the next time?
Hmm.
Digestion, sleep, anything about your clothes, relationships, thoughts, feelings, urges?
No, I think I'm gonna have to think about it
Okay.
as I pack it and because
Yep.
right now I'm kind of blank.
So I'm
Maybe
going to put a
no.
circle around the body and the pain one because you said that what you'd like to work on was to do leg exercises and maybe do some toning. So when you get to the next section later on, it'll have the part about what your plan is going to be. So, how do you think and feel about how your week went?
I felt like last week was a pretty good week.
Mm-hmm.
I was busy. I felt like I did pretty good keeping up with the kids when we were walking instead of running.
Okay. So now it says celebrate and add those wins to your or helpful thoughts to your wins journal. So in the beginning, one of the worksheets that you had, it said wins journal at the top. And so you'll take that journal and you could say walked all over downtown for your cheerleading competition and kept up with the kids. You could say reduce knee pain, no heartburn. Like if you don't remember having heartburn all week, a week with no heartburn. I am aware of what an urge feels like versus physical hunger. My clothes are looser. And so like put the date, put the win, and then every once in a while you can look back at it and just kind of see some of that non-scale progress, some of those kind of things. So at this point on the worksheet, it says your weigh in and if you've lost, gained, or any of that. And so you already told me your weight. And since this is a recorded call, I'm not going to ask you for that on here. So then the next part is your weekly plan. Okay. So next week, I want to focus on, reduce, or eliminate. What would you like to either focus, reduce, or eliminate this next week?
Okay, we already discussed eliminate chips.
Okay. And just since this is a recorded call, I want to clarify that we talked about eliminating them for 1 week as a scientific effort to determine how your body responds.
Correct.
It's not a deprivation or a restriction. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So eliminate your chips for this week.
Try to get all of my water.
So increase your water. Are you going to get 64 ounces this week, or do you want to go somewhere between the 48 and the 64?
I would like to do 64, but
what's your most realistic? If you think, yep, I just need to have some effort and I'll get it done easy breezy, it's just where I need to focus, then pick 64. If not, I want you to pick something that you're like, kind of like when we talked about your exercise, 3 minutes a day, so silly. There's no reason why I can't get that. Somewhere in
except
between.
you haven't gotten it this week. Not my 3 minutes.
What number of ounces of water do you want?
Let's try 56.
Okay, so 56 ounces of water. Anything else? That's good. But if you want something else, I'll write it for you.
I don't think so. I think we're going to stop.
Okay, so your goal for next week is going to be 56 ounces of water. And then up above on this worksheet, you had mentioned that you wanted to tone or do some legs. When we were coaching earlier, you said you wanted to do some movement this week. Is there any goal you want to set with your movement or toning? Or do you want to just keep that on the burner and then do that one maybe another week?
We'll just keep that on there and I will work at it. We're not going to put anything specific.
Okay. So movement. Okay. I'll just write movement for you. And then your specifics are the chips and the 56 ounces of water, right?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
What will you have to overcome to achieve these goals? Any thoughts or any obstacles?
probably on the chips, just ask myself if it's an urge.
Okay. So ask yourself if it's an urge. So the obstacle would be deciding if it was an urge or physical hunger. So the next question, since you don't have your paper, is actually strategy. So for obstacles and thoughts, I'm going to write down that you're determining if it's physical hunger or an urge. And the strategy is going to be asking yourself which one it is. Any other obstacles or thoughts about being able to get 56 ounces of water?
I feel like there shouldn't be, it should just be habit.
Well, there's no should or shouldn't, because should means that you have an expectation for it to be a certain way. And so right now, it's not that way. So it's exactly what it's supposed to be because you haven't learned that habit yet. So right now is not a moment to be like, I should be doing all these things. I need to, right now is just like, this is what I'm going to try and keep working. The 56 ounces is what my goal is. That's the next place I want to be at. I think that when I hit that, maybe it will make my knees feel a little better or whatever it is, why you want the 56 ounces of water. But right now it's just like, what might come up that would prevent me from getting my 56 ounces? That's what an obstacle would be. A thought or some kind of other obstacle.
It would probably be a thought because I would think that I'd want coffee or Diet Right instead of water, which could also be an urge.
So then how are you going to overcome the thoughts of just wanting coffee and Diet Right over water? How are you going to overcome that?
Probably going to have to drink a cup of water before I can have the other.
So your strategy is to drink a cup of water before you have coffee or Diet Right.
Correct.
Okay. What are you willing to try? Which I think you pretty much declared it in your strategies. Is there anything else you'd want to add to something you'd want to try?
I can't think of anything.
Sometimes it's just a question that fits a certain scenario, but not all of them. So what can I think or do to make this easier? So what can you think or what can you do that will make getting 56 ounces of water and no chips easier?
I don't know.
Okay. So sometimes people will think, I'm learning, I'm willing to try, I'm curious how my body will respond. I am making this easier for myself. That's just a thought all on its own. So these are all possibilities. Does any of that kind of inspire you to feel like it's a little easier when you think any of those thoughts that I said?
Yeah, probably try this and see how I feel.
Okay. So the thought is, I'm going to try this and see how I feel. And so when you think, I'm going to try this and see how I feel, that kind of feels easier to you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't feel like it's something that I'm telling myself I have to do it or just
Yeah.
suck it to do it.
Perfect. So when you're having moments of like, I don't know if I feel like doing this, or when you feel like, I think I'm going to eat the chips that I didn't plan, you're going to tell yourself again, I'm just trying this and see how I feel. I'm just doing this for this week, and then I'm going to see how I feel. And so as you say that, then you're also looking for, how do I feel? How does my body feel? What is my mind saying to me? Like, is my brain shooting up like, but no, Lana, I want these right now. And so like kind of paying attention to like how that is coming up for you. Okay, just a few more questions. Why is this important to you this week?
I think it became more important Saturday when I couldn't keep up when they were running away from me.
But you did keep up. So watch how you talk to yourself. So you
Well, I
kept up
did,
for most of the day.
yes, most of the day I did, but when we were late, I was not keeping up.
Right. And so it can definitely inspire you to want to have more of your day that you were able to keep up, but don't let it become a beat down for what you were not able to do yet, because it's just slap the yet on the end. Okay. So it's important to keep up with the kids.
Mhm.
Any other reasons why it's important?
So they'll take me again.
So to keep up with the kids and them want to bring you.
Yeah,
So you don't want to be a burden, is what you're saying.
exactly. Mhm.
Anything else? Okay.
I can't think off the top of my head.
Okay. How will you know if you achieved this goal? How is it measurable?
Whether or not I get my water in. I mean,
Okay. And you're going to use your
planner.
daily plan and move it to your habit tracker. Okay.
Mhm.
And then your chips. How are you going to know?
If I don't eat them. If the bag's still full.
Okay. How will you feel in a week when you for sure have had 56 ounces of water every day and no chips by the end of the week? How will you feel?
I will probably,
I guess I should ask this a little different. How will you feel in the accomplishment of no chips and no water?
I will probably feel like I accomplished something and be
Okay.
proud of myself.
So proud of yourself. Okay. Anything else?
Can't think of anything.
All right. So this will go much faster when I'm not the one asking you questions, but this was a really great example for, since this is recorded, that they'll, the others will get to watch on the replay to just kind of get to see how we would go through the list. So the thing in the beginning, and I went ahead and put your weekly goal weight for what you said on here instead of asking you out loud. But in the habit tracker, like, there's lines on here for made a plan, 8 on plan, assess the plan, water 64 ounces or more, sleep 7+ hours, 8 when I was hungry, stop before I was full. So the habit tracker, you would take those numbers and put onto here. So like, since it's a week thing, you know, what your week consisted of. So however many of the bubbles there are. And then like, if you did 5 out of 7, you could write 5. Or you can take 5 and divide it by 7 and give yourself a percentage, whichever way you like looking at it. Okay.
Okay. Are you going to give me that paper tomorrow or make a copy of?
Yep,
Okay.
I will. Do you have any other questions about it before I hop off here?
I don't think so.
All right.